You might be surprised at the number one condition we see at Chambers Clinic. We all know what the biggest killers are out there: heart disease, cancer. The number one condition we actually see, getting to the root cause of things, is stress. So let's talk about stress. And when we do that, the first thing we have to talk about is the two different kinds of nervous systems. So let me break it down. We have a sympathetic nervous system, that is our fight or flight nervous system, and then we have a parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. Now, which do you think we need to be in most of the time? It's parasympathetic, rest and digest. We're going through the basic functions of the body, digesting, as the name says, making sure that we eliminate our bowels, making sure that we're just in a relaxed mode, because that's kind of the body's cleanup mode. Now, that fight or flight stress, that sympathetic stress, is the complete opposite. And it's designed to get us out of danger. 2 million years ago, when we were living in small groups on the savannah, it was pretty easy to figure out what the danger was, right? There might have been a predator approaching camp, and your hackles go up and you're trying to, figure out what that is. The sympathetic nervous system kind of concentrates that energy, so it sharpens our thought, raises cortisol to get glucose into our muscles so that we can run. But back in those days, the threats were few. So the sympathetic nervous system was a tactic by the brain to help to keep us alive. Fast forward back to today, we can get an email from the boss, and that is going to set us off. And to the brain, despite the 2 million year gap, it's the exact same thing. We end up doing that over and over and over again. Someone cuts us off in traffic, same response. Again, an argument with somebody, same response. Instead of living in this peaceful parasympathetic mode, we live today in 2020 in a very stressful sympathetic mode. And instead of it being just kind of a one-off just to get us out of danger, it's over and over and over and over again. And instead of running away from a predator, so to speak, we're sitting at a desk. We're sitting all day long. So now we've released that cortisol, we've released that glucose to help the muscles, but we're just sitting there. So what happens to the glucose? Yeah, we'll get rid of some of it, but what ends up happening is it starts to accumulate in the system. First of all, the muscles over time can get resistant to insulin, which helps to take glucose out of our system. And that extra glucose in the system gets stored as fat because we had an emergency. It didn't really happen, but the brain thinks, well, maybe we should just hang on to this for later on in case we really need to run away. The other thing that happens is that chronic stress kind of elevates all of our levels. It elevates our adrenaline. And so we start to get a little more anxious. All these levels keep going up. And then because it's happening all the time, the brain kind of keeps the set point at that level. And we don't want to be at that level. We want to be down low. So in our next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about some strategies to stay in a parasympathetic mode throughout the day. Ensure that when those sympathetic activities come in, that we're well equipped to deal with them and it's not harming our body.